progress, being transparent about it, engaging in conversations, and over time, governments and there have to be other frameworks to evolve it. Yeah.
Yeah. Should it be up to governments, or should it be up to those? This is a problem we see all the time: is people who don't know as much about the thing are in charge of regulating the thing. Mm-hmm. Should it be up to companies like Google to be as responsible as possible, or should there also be government structure around AI?
I think a combination of all that. I think companies have to definitely, be responsible because they are often developing technology early, and you're at the cutting edge of technology, and it takes a while for governments to, think about it and address. Yeah. But I think public-private partnerships are important. Academia plays a strong role, academic institutions and research. Over time, for something like AI, you would need no different for something as big as climate change. You have concepts like Paris Agreement. You would need global frameworks because to think about it. But I am optimistic. I mean, I think I see the benefits of how all of this can impact, and we have worked together hard to address issues in the past. So
I think it's easy to be optimistic because there's so many good, cool things happening from AI. One of my favorite announcements from you guys was Google sort of adapting their computational photography to better account for different skin tones. Mm-hmm. And it seems like such a small thing, but it affects so many people. I mean, part of the reason I use the cameras that I do is because it can handle this latitude and different skin tones, and I like the way they look. But I'm curious if you feel like there's other quick, practical applications of AI in the smartphone world, kind of like that.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I was excited about Project Douglas. My daughter had the same reaction. She literally had the same reaction when she first heard about it. She's like, was talking about the pictures and she felt, she wasn't represented correctly. And so I'm glad we addressed it, and there's more work to be done there. We have had the same experience with accessibility. So live captioning videos, and you can do it on device, and the thing I always like about these things is even if you think of it as a feature to help the disabled community, it has wide applicability beyond that as well. You could be in a meeting and you want to listen to a video and the captioning still works, right? Or in a crowded place and so on. So I think all of this is much wider applicability too.
Definitely. The other AI part that was a little crazy was, I think it's called Lambda. Mm-hmm. Correct me if I'm wrong, LAMDA. But you demonstrated this conversational aspect of AI where it sort of uses information to answer questions about itself. So the demo was talking to Pluto, which was pretty cool. Pluto gets to defend itself. Maybe it's a little underrated. But I imagine, like, my brain immediately went to, well, what other things could you synthesize a conversation with? And I went straight to, like, people, like other existing people. Are there lines you won't cross with things like Project Lambda where, like, should you not be allowed to synthesize conversation with someone who's alive? Or how do you think about, like, where Lambda can go?
I want to stress Lambda is still research, right?
Yeah.
And, so we're pushing the boundary there. This is why we, articulated our AI principles very clearly and publicly so that we have a framework to think through anything like this. When it comes to product, I think, it's really important. When it comes to product, I think, it's really important. Like, AI is not ever used in an impersonation way, or give it through the right constructs for how it is. That to understand language deeper, yeah. and in the context, you can imagine talking to Google Assistant.
Yeah.
So first of all, search today, if it understood language deeper, or even in YouTube, when we are trying to understand what's in a video, right? The fact that we can understand language deeper would make a big difference. So that's the primary purpose. But in conversing with an assistant, we can make conversations much more natural. So the intent isn't to Pluto and a paper airplane are more benign examples, but we would have to have ethical principles and guidelines around anything we develop there.
What smartphone do you have in your pocket and why? That's probably the number one question people want me to ask you.
It changes a lot.
Sure.
Depends on the day of the week. Probably not as many as you play around with, but someday, it may not be too far off either. But I do try out almost every phone, at least for a little bit. I shouldn't say every phone, most phones.
Okay.
But right now in my pocket is a Pixel.
It's a Pixel.
I should pull it out.
I was gonna say it could be any Pixel.
So
okay.
It's a Pixel, but it's the released version of the Pixel now. But I've enjoyed using the S21, and and I check out everything that comes in the market, a OnePlus maybe, and play around with it. iPhones across our products work across everything, so I'm testing a lot of devices.
Yeah, it feels like if you're in, you started at Google with Chrome, and then obviously with Android, and now overseeing everything. Does it ever feel like you're too in the weeds to appreciate how I edit, and then I'm watching it back looking for little things, and I might kind of lose the bigger picture of the person who jumps in for the first time? If you're using Android 12 and new features coming out, and you're testing it on whatever daily phone it is, does that ever feel like a challenge to step back and remember, like, people have to use this for the first time and how they'll interact with it, or do you feel like you've sort of got that down to a science?
Well, what you're talking, it's the art of product management, I think, stepping back. So there's a difference between, hey, translation is exciting, we can build it in Chrome, to how would you do it in a way in which for most people it kind of naturally works. And designing it are two different things, I think, and so there's a lot of that. But I actually find your point even broader. A lot of the way when I do reviews with other teams, the perspective I almost always bring, and it could be anyone else in my position, is, because the teams are so in the effort of what they are doing, it's tough for them to sometimes see the forest instead of the trees, and so it's a lot of what real life is about, I think.
I want to ask about your like overall view of becoming a CEO of Google. Like, you grew up in India, you've mentioned didn't have access to the internet or a computer for a long time, and then you came to the US and you had access to the internet. Are there things that still surprise you about, like, the advancements in tech and accessibility today, even though you've seen so much of a difference between the beginning of your career and now?
I think for me, because growing up, every moment was discrete. Like, I had to wait a long time to get something, and then I saw the impact of it.
Right.
So waited 5 years on a wait list to get a rotary telephone, right? And you may not know what a rotary telephone
Heard
is.
about those.
I heard about those. But, kind of changed the life for me, my parents. In our streets, people would come to our home to kind of use it to talk to their family and friends. So I've always had that, the impact of how it can change people's lives. Where it most directly impacted me is I got inspired by the One Laptop Per Child project, which was being done by Negroponte at the time out of MIT. And I today look back at Chromebooks or Android phones, and to me it feels like it's an explicit continuation of that journey, which was inspiring to me.
Right. Here's maybe an interesting question. The tech CEO has sort of become like its own genre of celebrity in a weird way, in a way that it probably wasn't even thought about 10, 20 years ago. Do you think about that at all? Like, obviously there's this new curiosity about some of the most powerful companies in the world and the people that run them. Being a pretty understated guy, I would assume you're probably not all about the spotlight, but I'm curious what you feel about that.
I recognize the responsibility which comes with it, the scale at which tech is working in the world. I think there is an importance to it, and rightfully there is accountability that comes with it. And I think the importance of engaging and explaining yourselves internally and externally, that comes with it. But beyond that, I don't think too much about it. And on a day-to-day basis, is not how I approach it. Yeah,
that's great. I like that answer. So let's say you fast forward, let's go 50 years into the future. You're retired from Google, from tech. How do you want your fingerprint here in the tech world to be remembered?
I would love it to be about enabling radically more access to both information and computing to more people. That's a big part of what I think about. Really driven by it. But beyond that, I've always been interested in driving deeper technological progress, and obviously you have to take that and translate it into product and business success, right? And it goes hand in hand. But I think driving AI forward responsibly,
very excited about Android 12 and like all the customization and what is it called? Something U. Material U. Like that's a cool idea. So I'm looking forward to trying that out. But thanks for the time. I appreciate the interview and hopefully get to do it again sometime.
All right. Thanks, Marcus. Appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, students, we are over with our session today. I would just like to communicate to you that we have taken up two individuals who did not belong to the world of IT. Like Devang Mehta was one, the other was
Steve Jobs.
Dropout. I hope you appreciated it. I would like you to go through the video that I have sent you because I think yesterday there was some problem. He talks about connect the dots, Steve Jobs, and he always says connect the dots backwards. So when he talks about his any knowledge, whatever you acquire never goes away. Somehow you'll be able to relate to it. Somehow you'll be able to it's a very inspirational speech. Go through it in detail. I showed you instead of taking Nadella, I've shown you somebody, Sundar Pichai, because I think you'll be able to sort of connect with him better. And so we have people not from the IT background. We have had college dropouts. We also have very focused individuals who graduated from premier institutes like Wharton or IIT Kharagpur, and they all provide us inspiration. Like he talks about, he belonged to the stage where he used rotary telephones, and the development was very, very slow. As he said, discrete levels of development. But now the development is very fast and very quick. So we have people from different, so he tells you how technology is going to benefit, and Google works on happiness, health and happiness, and bringing benefits to one and all, basically to the masses. I think he did refer to how it is transforming even the medical science, usage in medical science. Now, the basic thrust of these discussions were, of course, a little.
Ma'am, you're not audible.
Ma'am, your voice is not clear.
We talked about people not audible.
It was breaking a lot in between.
There are people who do not belong to the IT background, and there are people who have been. Yes. This is a small video I showed you, so that he talks about development of information technology, how AI is going to contribute, what role is Google playing. And I will also like to, so this is basically, they're all very inspirational, and that's the major reason you're just at the beginning of your career. I want to inspire you. And there's one more video which I will not play now, but I'll send the link to you. It's also on Sundar Pichai. His interaction, he's basically a graduate of IIT Kharagpur, and almost 2 decades later, as an alumnus, as a CEO of Google, he visited IIT Kharagpur. I will send the link to you. Do see it, because you'll be able to connect better with whatever the conversation he has had with the students. You'll be able to appreciate and enjoy more. So today's session is over. I think we will move on to Unit 2 in the next class.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Any query, any
Thank you, ma'am.
discussion discussion, anything you want to know. I just wanted to familiarize you with certain prominent faces. That's it. And that's why I've taken a Pichai instead of Nadella, because I think you'll be able to connect with him better than with Nadella, who is the CEO of Microsoft. So we wind up our session today. Thank you, students. I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Send me the attendance because I'm listing it.